Nobody warns you about what it actually feels like to own a husky. They show you the photos, the icy blue eyes, the thick silver coat, the dramatic poses in the snow. They don't show you the fence, the third fence, the one you rebuilt after the second one also failed to contain an animal that approaches escape as both a hobby and a personal philosophy. They don't warn you about the 3 a.m. monologue, the one your husky delivers to nobody in particular about nothing specific, with the conviction of someone who has very important things to say and absolutely no interest in waiting until morning. They don't prepare you for the moment your husky looks directly at you, understands your command completely, considers it carefully, and decides no. Not out of confusion, not out of poor training, simply because, having weighed the options, they concluded your suggestion lacked merit. And yet, ask any husky owner if they would do it again. Every single one says yes. Not despite everything, because of it. That's the thing nobody warns you about either, that somewhere between the chaos and the howling and the escaped expeditions through the neighborhood, something happens, something you didn't expect, something you can't quite explain. And that is what dog psychology is here to explore today. Welcome. Because the husky-owner relationship is not like other relationships between humans and dogs. It is more complicated, more demanding, more unpredictable, and for those who have experienced it, more rewarding than almost anything else in the dog world. To understand why, we have to go back, far back, to a place of frozen silence and endless white, Siberia. Thousands of years ago, the Chukchi people of northeastern Siberia faced a problem that no amount of human determination alone could solve. Distances too vast, winters too brutal, terrain too unforgiving. And so they built a dog. Not bred for obedience, not bred for decoration, bred for survival. The Siberian Husky was engineered, across generations, through extraordinary selective pressure, to do something almost impossible: to run. Not occasionally, not for exercise, to run as a primary function of existence, covering distances that defy comprehension, moving through conditions that would end most living things, doing it willingly, powerfully, and with a mind capable of making critical decisions when the musher could not. Because on the tundra, blind obedience could kill you. If the ice ahead was too thin, the dogs needed to know. If a storm was shifting direction, the dogs needed to feel it before the human did. If the team needed to adjust, the lead dog needed the intelligence and confidence to act. The Chukchi didn't breed followers, they bred thinkers. And that psychology, that ancient, survival-tested, independent intelligence, is still entirely intact today, inside your husky, right now. This is why your husky studies situations before responding. This is why they question instructions rather than automatically accepting them. This is why they look at you sometimes with an expression that clearly says, "I heard you, I considered it, I have concerns." To some owners, this feels frustrating. From the husky's perspective, it is simply how a capable mind operates. The tundra never rewarded blind compliance, and the husky has not forgotten. Now here is where it gets psychologically fascinating, because despite all of this independence, despite the stubbornness and the selective hearing, and the deep personal commitment to doing things on their own terms, huskies are not solitary animals, not even close. Historically, they lived in teams, worked in teams, traveled in teams. Everything about their psychology evolved around one central truth: connection matters. In a wolf pack, in a sled team, in a Chukchi village, isolation was not freedom. Isolation was danger. The huskies' need for their people runs as deep as their need for movement, as deep as their need for space, as deep as anything in their psychological architecture. They don't want to be alone. They never did. And this creates the central paradox that every husky owner eventually discovers. An animal that questions your authority at every turn also needs you completely. An animal that will absolutely not follow a command they find unconvincing will also fall apart without your presence. An animal that seems determined to operate on their own schedule, by their own rules, according to their own deeply held philosophical positions about the correct time to go inside, will also press their body against yours at the end of the day and stay there, quietly, without drama, without demand, just near you, because near you is where they want to be. This is not a contradiction. This is a husky, and understanding it changes everything about how you experience the relationship, because the independence is not rejection. The stubbornness is not defiance. The noise, and yes, the noise is extraordinary, is not chaos. It is communication. Huskies are among the most vocal animals in the domestic dog world, and this too comes directly from their history. In vast open landscapes, across distances where visual communication was impossible, Huskies developed a sophisticated, layered system of vocal expression. The howl that coordinates a pack, the call that carries across a kilometer of frozen silence, the sound that says, "I am here. Where are you? Come back." When your husky howls at you from the other room, they are not misbehaving. They are using the most powerful communication tool they have. When they argue back after a command, they are not being disrespectful. They are telling you something. The psychology here is actually profound. A husky who communicates with you, who argues with you, who howls at you, who makes their feelings spectacularly known, is a husky who believes you are worth communicating with. A husky who has gone quiet and withdrawn around their owner is a husky who has stopped believing in the connection. That silence is a thing to worry about, not the noise. Never the noise. Now let's talk about husky love, because it does not look like what most people expect when they imagine a loving dog. It is not the constant, warm, tail-wagging availability of a Labrador. It is not the gentle, intuitive closeness of a Golden Retriever. Husky love is something different entirely. It arrives without warning. You will be sitting quietly, doing nothing of particular interest, and your husky will cross the room with sudden purpose, climb onto you, press their entire body against yours, and look at you with an intensity that suggests this moment has been carefully planned. And then, just as suddenly, they may decide they are done and leave. On their terms. Always on their terms. But here is what dog psychology reveals about this pattern. Because Huskies are not emotionally dependent in the way many breeds are, their expressions of affection carry different weight. When a dog who constantly seeks reassurance leans against you, it feels like need. When a husky who has been perfectly fine on their own for the past hour suddenly chooses to come to you, that feels like a decision. A real one, made freely, by an animal who didn't have to. And earned affection feels different from automatic affection. Every husky owner knows this. The quiet moments are the ones they remember forever. A husky resting their head on your leg after a hard day. A husky checking over their shoulder during a walk to make sure you were still there. A husky sleeping against your feet without asking anything of you. No performance, no manipulation, just presence, just trust. Those moments reveal something that all the howling and escaping and fence rebuilding cannot obscure. Huskies are deeply, genuinely, completely loyal. Not in a way that removes their personality, not in a way that makes them easy, but in a way that is entirely, unmistakably real. And real loyalty, the kind that has to be earned, the kind that is given freely rather than automatically, is a rare thing, in the dog world or anywhere else. Perhaps that is why husky owners speak about their dogs the way they do, with that particular mix of exhaustion and exasperation and absolute, unconditional love. Because a husky will challenge you. They will test your patience and your fences and your ability to explain calmly to a neighbor why there is howling at 3 in the morning. They will make decisions you did not authorize, express opinions you did not request, love you on a schedule that is entirely their own. But they will never be fake, never filtered, never performing a version of themselves designed to make your life more convenient. In a world where so much is curated and edited and optimized for appearance, the husky remains exactly what it has always been. Honest. Completely, sometimes inconveniently, beautifully honest. And when that honest, ancient, complicated animal looks at you, really looks at you, with those eyes that carry 10,000 years of frozen tundra and survival and partnership, and chooses to stay, chooses to come back, chooses you every day with full awareness that they don't have to, that is not something you can explain to someone who has never felt it. That is the most complex relationship in the dog world, and it is worth every single second of it. Thank you for watching Dog Psychology. If you share your life with a husky, we want to hear from you in the comments. What was the moment your husky stopped feeling like a pet and started feeling like a partner.